So generally I talk a little bit and then open the floor for questions, for Q&A, because I think sometimes that some of the best learning happens when you're able to ask your questions and then sort of kind of get answers to it. Now, I have a thing that I'd like to say is that when you listen to me, I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to try to listen to that I'm listening to, because I am always listening. The topic for tonight is, how do you keep going in the midst of obstacles?
Yes.
That's the topic?
Yes, the topic.
I'll tell you a little bit about my background first so that you'll know who I am and where I came from. And we'll start with what I do now. Today I'm one of the highest ranking African American females in the Great Lakes region in the federal government. As a matter of fact, there are only 2 other women at my level in this region, and they are in different departments and different agencies. I have a television show called The City of Inspiration, the author of 3 books. I'm financially independent, and I have a son who is a graduate of Jackson State University. I have an MBA from the University of Chicago, and my specialty is financial management. I absolutely love finances. Now, all of that sounds like, okay, you could have done all that, but this is where I am from. At 14 years old when I was pregnant, my son was born when I was 15 years old. I was anorexic by the time I was 16. And by 18, every single day, I thought about suicide. As a matter of fact, when I didn't think about suicide, that was a good day. In 1988, I had a basal skull fracture. They told me I was going to die. When I didn't die, they told me I wasn't going to walk or talk. And then when I walked or talked, they told me I was going to have epilepsy. In 1992, I was diagnosed with an aortic aneurysm that was inoperable. Today, I stand here in reasonably good health. No high blood pressure, no diabetes, no epilepsy, no none of that stuff, okay? On occasion, I suffer from a bad attitude, in which case reminds me of one of Young Jeezy's favorite songs. This attitude, why you have an attitude. I don't know why I have an attitude, okay? So that's about it. So I am here to tell you that the one thing that I have learned in my life is that nobody knows enough about what you can do to decide where you're going to end up. And the first rule is that it is not over until you decide it's over. Now, there is a process, though, that's at work that we don't always pay attention to. One thing that you have to start to pay attention when you find your back against the walls and you've got obstacles everywhere. And it doesn't matter what the obstacles are. The obstacles can be financial. The obstacles can be no job. The obstacles can be health. It is the same exact principle and the same exact process that will put money in your pocket, get you the right job, find the right mate, and will also make sure that your health is in order. It's the same principle. So what you're about to learn, I always ask people to get paper and pencil out because we talk about a lot. And I want you to take down a few key notes because when I leave here, you will have 5 things that you can do right now that will change your life. Now, one of the things that we have at our fingertips that we don't use a lot is our mind. Now, I got a little test that I like to do that helps prove this point. Your point of power is right now at this moment. This is your only point of power. This is the only opportunity that you can change things. But right now, how many people are thinking about what you did yesterday? How many people are thinking about what their friends are doing now? How many people are thinking about what they're going to do tomorrow or what you need to do next week? Okay. Most people are. And if you are thinking about anything other than what's going on in this divine moment, you have wasted your point of power. Because no amount of thinking or believing can change what happened yesterday, and no amount of thinking or believing can influence what's going to happen back then. Your power is right here. We all, wherever we find ourselves, is a divine moment. Meaning, all of the people that you need to know are right there with you right then. All of the information that you've been seeking is available in that moment. So instead of worrying about what's happening, what your friends are doing, and instead of worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, I urge you to start right where you are, talking to the people that you always find yourself in the midst of, because they have the answers to some of the questions that you've been asking. Now, is that easy to do, right? Now, you have about 50,000 thoughts a day, so it's impossible to control all of those thoughts. I'm only asking that you start to control some of those thoughts. Now, I want you to think about the way you think and the way you use your mind like a baseball game. Who in here knows the rules of baseball? You know, some of them make a lot of money and some of them don't make so much money, right? Well, and you kind of know what a batting average is. So somebody who bats about 200 batting average, that just means that they hit 2 out of 10 balls. Okay? They make about $100,000 a year, $104,000 to be exact. There's a 300 batting average, and that's the person that hits 3 out of 10 balls. They make $1 million a year. And then there's a 400 batting average. They hit 4 out of 10 balls, and they make several $1 million a year. So life sort of works like that. So you don't have to get it right today. You just have to be better today than you were yesterday. Okay? So we've got thoughts. The next thing is gratitude and appreciation. How many people are really grateful right now? How many people were grateful like a few minutes ago? When you go to the gas tank, you have to pay for gas, are you still grateful? Oh, but when it wasn't cheaper, were you grateful? Yes. Okay. Now, people spend a lot of time complaining about things, and I say if you drove yourself to the service station, and if you got out on your own 2 feet and pumped your own gas, and if you had money to pay for it, see, all of that is shouting material, as my grandmother used to say. So what we need to do is to spend more time being grateful for where we are and what we have. Because the universe works like this. Every single thing that you think about happens. So those of you who are worried about money, does it get you more money? Usually you have less money, right? You worried yourself into another emergency, right? See? So what you said with that worry thought is, I love to worry. Give me some more worry. I love to be worried about money. Give me some more issues to be worried about money. That's what you just said. Because see, the universe is kind of simple. God and the Holy Spirit you live in is kind of simple. It doesn't understand adjectives. It doesn't understand adverbs. Now, I write, so I love adjectives and adverbs. It's like a verb, okay? So it understands things like you say, I need. It says, oh, they want things to need about. So all of a sudden you'll have a lot of things to need about. So when you find yourself in that situation, there's a song that says, if you are going to pray, don't worry. And if you're going to worry, don't pray. So when you find yourself in a situation where you are concerned about what's happening, I want you to think about a time in your life when you didn't think you were going to be able to make it and you made it. And as you all go back to that time now, did you do anything to make it through that? Did it require your help at all? Did it? Okay. So what makes you think you require your help now? Okay? It requires your attention, and you're willing, but you have to keep it on gratitude and appreciation. So that's the next thing. The other thing that and the one thing that I left out of my story is when I moved to Chicago in 1996, I was homeless. Didn't have a place to stay, didn't have no friends that would take me in, didn't know when I was going to eat, none of that. Had $65,000 worth of debt and an ex-husband that stole my identity, okay? So it was pretty tough, so you wonder what you have to be thankful for, right? I was absolutely grateful for the fact that every time I woke up, I had another opportunity to live my dreams. I could breathe on my own. I could walk by myself. I didn't need help to the bathroom. I could speak, and that my mind still functioned. And those are the things that we begin to take for granted. When you wake up in the morning, you don't tell your legs to move, you don't remind your heart to beat, and you don't remind your lungs that they need to breathe. All of that is happening in spite of who you are, where you are, what's on your mind. And those are the things that you need to be grateful for. One thing that you have to do too that I learned is that my life has got to become the most important thing to me. Not somebody else's life, not somebody else's situation. So I had to become less concerned about what someone else was doing and more concerned about where I was going and what I was doing. So no longer do you have the opportunity to get up out of your bed and leave the house without a plan. You must have a plan. You must know where you're going to go. You must know how you're going to use your time for that day. You must know that. And every single day, you've got to do one thing toward whatever your dreams are. Even if it's making just a phone call, or doing some research, or reading something. Do not let the day go by without you having done one thing towards your dreams. You are the most important person in your life. So I want you to fall in love with the reality show that's called you. So, if you know more about what Kim Kardashian is doing and what Beyonce is wearing, okay, your attention is in the wrong place. You need to know what you are doing, where you are going, and what you're wearing. Another thing that gets our attention also is that we are very concerned and interested in what our friends are doing. You can hear it if you're in your grocery store. Hi, how you doing? Where you going? What you doing? What he say? What he have on? What you do? Okay? If the success that you want, the only person you must consume yourself with is you. If you read the biographies of all of the people who have been incredibly successful, take Steve Jobs. He didn't have a whole lot of people he kept up with, did he? Had his family, had a handful of friends. That was all he needed, okay? He changed the world. So if you're going to change the world, you cannot spend precious moments trying to keep up with everybody else's doing. So you got to be the most important thing to you. Meaning, you need to make a list every year. And I made a list of all the people I knew, and I had two categories. They either inspired me or they didn't inspire me. There was no gray, because in life there is no gray. You either are on the way or you are in the way, okay? No in between. And you either believe it can be done or you don't believe it can be done. There's no little bit, it's all or none. So you make a list. And as you identify the people in your lives who are not inspiring you, okay? Those are the people who always call you with a problem and an issue. Now, I have friends who have problems and issues, but we have a rule. You're allowed to have that problem and that issue for exactly 6 months. After that, by God, I've determined that you love it. So don't call me with it, okay? Right? Live out your own dream. That's your own drama. You created it. People have to move on, because if they don't, then you will be left there with them. So those who are not inspiring you, those who do not absolutely believe in you, and those who are not on your side, you need to let them go. Often they're family members, okay? They got to go too. Everybody got to go, okay? Now, you don't have to be mean and say, you got to get out of my life. Just don't talk to the people anymore. I flipped the conversations at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I mentioned that because that's coming up, because that's usually when you have a lot of that interesting conversation. I take 3x5 cards with me, and I give everybody one, and they have to write 3 things down that they are grateful for, and on the other side, 3 things that they plan to accomplish that will change the world next year, okay? That's what we talk about. We don't talk about that other stuff. I'm not interested, okay? It doesn't uplift me. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't keep me to the point that where I'm able to continue to believe that I can change the world. Now, next thing is I am big on no pity parties, okay? No pity parties. Stop calling people, telling them what's wrong in your life. Okay, and the reason is 80% of the people you tell don't care. And 20% of the people are glad it's you, okay? They can't wait to hang up the phone and go tell somebody else what's going on in your life. And you know, by the time they tell that story 3 times, you know you went from breaking your toe to breaking your leg and your arm and having a basal skull fracture, okay?